Learning a language can feel like you're standing at a base of a mountain, not knowing where to begin. Trust me, I know. Over the years, I have experimented with learning such different languages as French, English, Chinese, and Spanish. The only guide that showed me the path to the top is planning my language learning and breaking it down into small, actionable steps. So let's begin this video and talk about creating a monthly language learning plan to balance multiple foreign languages. I want to start by talking about planners and my Notion language learning template in particular. I do think that planning your language learning is going to be very important for those of you guys who are trying to learn multiple foreign languages and you're trying to balance this whole thing and also balance your life, your lifestyle, your work, your relationships with your language learning. I'm going to talk a lot about my Notion template today just because this is the planner that I use and I have my computer right here to guide you through everything that I'm looking at. If you guys love Notion just like me, I think you're really going to appreciate this template just because I decided to make it a little bit more complicated and I added some complicated formulas. I literally had to spend days trying to figure out certain formulas, but it's finally here and I think it looks really great. The way I organize everything is on the main page, I have my weekly planner from Monday to Sunday. If I have certain types of activities when it comes to language learning on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I don't know, any day, I'm just gonna write all of this here. And then we actually scroll down to the main database. I have all of these different languages. Honestly, right now, I'm only actively learning Spanish. Sometimes I go to learn Chinese. It is not my priority right now at all. English, I mean, as you can see, I've been learning English for like 10 years now, and I think my English is pretty good, so I'm only maintaining this language right now. If you're learning more foreign languages, you can obviously add more. If you're learning less, you can delete some from here. Consistency and planning helps me learn multiple foreign languages, but I also know that a lot of language learners sometimes feel stuck, or maybe they feel like they don't know where to begin. If you're looking for a way to make language learning completely tailored to you, LiveXP offers exactly that, and I want to say a huge thank you to them for sponsoring a portion of this video. LiveXP is a platform that offers personalized language learning with one-on-one tutoring. I have been taking private Spanish classes with professional teachers on LiveXP for almost a year now, and I have been enjoying them a lot. On LiveXP, you can study 30 plus different languages, including English and Spanish, and they have over 2,000 teachers on their platform. Recently, LiveXP introduced an AI-powered personalized path for English learners. It's designed to tailor lessons, whether it's grammar, listening, or speaking, exactly to your learning style. But what I love about LiveXP is that they don't just stop at AI lessons. They match you with a real tutor who guides you through your practice sessions. So you get the best of both worlds, personalized exercises and real-life interaction. Plus, they make it super easy to book your first lesson. I'll share my discount code with you guys on LiveXP a little later. And now let's move on to talking about your language learning goals. When you open any language page in my Notion template, you will see that I have this section called My Goals. And I actually included two types of goals here: SMART goals and NICE goals. I feel like the SMART framework is probably the most famous one: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. But I have recently discovered the NICE goal framework, and I have actually liked it quite a lot. Near-term, input-based, controllable, and energizing. I do think that understanding and writing down all of your goals is extremely valuable. If you prefer the SMART goals framework, you can write something like this: I want to improve my English speaking skills. I will practice speaking for at least 30 minutes 3 times a week. I will use LiveXP to talk to my language tutor. Improving my speaking skills in English will help me communicate better at work. I want to reach this goal within the next 3 months. And so this is going to be one of your full SMART goals. I want to improve my English speaking skills by practicing for at least 30 minutes 3 times a week on LiveXP over the next 3 months to communicate better at work. If you choose the NICE goals framework, I really want you to know that this technique is mainly focused on setting effective goals that enhance your personal motivation and achievements. And that's why these goals have been working better for me. Let's say this is going to be your example. I will schedule speaking practice sessions on LiveXP for the next month. I will make sure I attend all of my English lessons next month. I will prepare conversation topics and questions in advance. I will choose fun topics to discuss, like movies or travel, to keep the sessions enjoyable. And so the final goal is going to be For the next month, I will attend 4 English lessons on LiveXP and prepare interesting topics to discuss, focusing on what I can control to make practice sessions energizing and fun. As you can see on LiveXP, you can track your language goals with the help of your tutor and your customized routine. And the best part is you can book a trial lesson for just 99 cents if you use the link in my description. Plus, you can enjoy a 30% discount on any subscription with my promo code Veronika English 30. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of my planning process, which is usually writing down all of my priorities, or at least understanding them in my head. I do recommend sitting down and writing why you're learning each language, what motivation you have, what goals do you have, because this will help you understand which language is going to be your main focus and which languages you can study more casually. And that's exactly why I have this weekly planner in my Notion, because when I plan all of my language learning and I see my week at a glance, I can honestly tell myself that I would like to practice Spanish 5 times a week. And so I only have 2 days left for Chinese. And that works for me because English and Spanish are my top priorities and Chinese is not my main focus right now. The next thing that I highly recommend doing is time blocking all of your learning. And when it comes to language learning, if it is truly your goal to master this language, try to find time when you feel energized, when you know that you can be engaged with the language, because I often talk about energy management and not time management. If you manage your time well, you schedule all of your English classes, let's say, but then when you attend them after a busy day full of work, you just realize that your brain feels like jello, like you cannot focus and you're not engaged. Because of that, obviously your learning is just not going to be effective. What I usually do is I go to my Google Calendar and I time block. This really helps me dedicate time for language learning and helps me stay consistent. If I see that, this block is called language learning, I'm not gonna go to the gym at this time, or I'm not gonna go meet up with my friends at this time, because this time is precious and I dedicated this time to learn a foreign language. When time blocking your languages, you can honestly consider this 80-20 approach if you're learning 2 languages and more. 80% of your time is going to be dedicated to your main language or your main languages, and 20% of the time you can dedicate to other languages that you want to learn more casually. It's like in my case, I know that right now I dedicate 80% to Spanish learning because it is my top priority, but only 20% to Chinese, just because it's not my top priority. And if I want to brush up on my skills, I can dedicate 20% of my time to this language. The next strategy that I want to give you guys to balance multiple foreign languages is using one language to learn the next. I honestly do not recommend learning a lot of new languages at the same time, like being a beginner in multiple foreign languages, because I feel like it's going to be extremely challenging. Because when I'm a beginner in a certain language, it just feels so hard. All of those grammar rules, all of this vocab, everything hits you. And if you're also trying to be a beginner in 3 different languages, I think it's going to be pretty challenging. What I try to do is I learn one language to this upper intermediate level, and then I use this language to learn the next. That's something that I'm doing right now with Spanish, because I'm using English to learn Spanish. I think that my English is pretty good. I think I'm advanced, but English is not my native language. So instead of using Russian to learn Spanish, like using all the textbooks in Russian or taking classes with a Russian tutor to learn Spanish, I'm doing everything in English. All of the books I have about Spanish are either in English or in Spanish, not in Russian. And so this way I'm maintaining my English proficiency and also learning Spanish. And since I mentioned maintaining your language, let's talk about advancing or maintaining. I feel like for any person who loves learning a lot of different languages, there's always this dilemma. I feel excited when I learn new languages, but I also need to maintain my old languages. But the truth is, the more languages you learn, the easier it becomes to pick up more languages later on. But if you try to juggle multiple languages, your proficiency in each is going to start to decline. And so maintaining a lot of different languages will just mean that you will be able to communicate with native speakers in a good way, to express yourself, to explain certain things, but probably you're not going to be as proficient because you won't have as much time. But if you only dive head first into one language, yes, it means that you're going to become advanced faster, but then you're only gonna be advanced in one language instead of speaking multiple. So there's always this dilemma, always a lot of questions to ask, but I feel like the bottom line is choose what you value the most according to your goals, according to your lifestyle, and how much time you can actually allocate for language learning. So guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I highly recommend checking out LiveXP and learning foreign languages there. You can use my link in the description and check them out. If you want to know why you can't remember words while speaking, I highly recommend checking out this video right here. I explain all the reasons in this video, so click right here and keep on watching.